bump into the wall and you're gonna hurt yourself, and it's not gonna be shalom bayis. It's not gonna be peace. Back in the days, if there was no candles lit at night, it was pitch dark. Like when I don't know if you have experienced the blackouts. There's been New York had a blackout many years ago, and a blackout means it's pitch dark out. It's pitch dark. You can't see anything. So Chacham wanted us to light the candles so people should be able to see where they're walking. They shouldn't like walk, can't see where you're going. That's one reason. The other reason is so you can have a light when you're eating, because you enjoy the food much more if you could see the food. One of the issues in the desert, what Eden were complaining about was, even though the man could have any taste he wanted, but they couldn't see the food. There's something about seeing the food. Something about seeing it. It doesn't have to be bright light. It has to be some light. Even in the restaurants with dark, but there's some light. It is not pitch dark. You're not going to find a restaurant that's pitch dark. You pay so much money for the food that you can't see it. So there's enjoyment when you see the food. Now, when you light the candles, as you know, you light the candles and then you say the bracha, and then you cover your eyes, not to benefit from the light until you say the bracha. So the bracha should be like it's coming before the mitzvah, because the mitzvah of lighting candles is mainly the benefit from the candles. So the idea is that you light the candles, then you cover your eyes, so you're not getting any benefit. Then you say the bracha, and now you take off uncover your eyes. Now you can benefit. It's like you said the bracha before you did the mitzvah. It's like you did it before the mitzvah. Automatically, when you light the candles, you are accepting Shabbos. No, it's by default. You light candles, accept the customers. You light candles, you accept Shabbos. Shabbos is accepted, and that's why when you finish lighting the candles, you don't extinguish the fire. You just put down the match, as you know. That's why you also shouldn't be have these things that you press. The lighter, you press down and you light. And then when you finish, you let go. It's also not so good because you finish lighting, then now you're letting go. Now you can argue, letting go, what do you really do? But it's definitely not tefillah. Imagine after you finish lighting, you have to keep your finger on it for 24 hours. Yeah, no, we're not going to make anyone do that. But I'm saying it's not proper to use those lighters because of that reason, because after you finish lighting, you have to let go.
Isn't the match muksa also? Once you light it? A match is not muksa? Okay.
So when you finish, the question is when you finish lighting it and you have a match in your hand, and now it's Shabbos and you're holding muksa in your hand. You're not picking up muksa, it's already in hand. There's a different issue. Here the issue is you're letting go, there's some type of malacha happening, because when you're letting go, you're causing it to extinguish. Whereas the match, there's no malacha, there's nothing happening. It's just that it's muktzah. Muktzah means that I can't move muktzah. If it's already in your hand, Shabbos, in other words, if something is in your hand and it's Shabbos, hypothetically speaking, you didn't pick it up on Shabbos. Shabbos comes in and it's in your hand already. What did you do? It's in your hand. So you let go of it. So letting go is actually, that's good. You're letting go of it. In other words, you didn't grab it on Shabbos. It's in your hand already. Letting go is better. Holding on is worse than letting go. In other words, Shabbos comes in and there's something in your hand. So what do? You can't let go. Letting go is good. Letting go is letting go of the muktzah as opposed to holding on to it. By the way, in Allah said muktzah, if you realize you're holding muktzah, what happens if by mistake you pick up muktzah on Shabbos? By mistake, what do you do? You forgot whatever you picked up. Right. So now the question is, you're going to say, okay, so let go. Sure. But the question is, do you have to let go right away? What do I mean? There's an opinion that says that once you're already holding the muktzah, you can already put it wherever you want. As being that you didn't pick up the muktzah, it's already in your hand. So one opinion says it's already in your hand. You're not obligated to just drop it right away and just fall to the floor. It's already in your hand, so you could put it where you want. Obviously, you're not going to procrastinate that. Okay, it's already in my hand. I could, pray. No, figure out, right away to put it, but you don't have to immediately let go. One of the things is you do have to meet it. It's a machlokes. So even by real muktzah, the opinion says you don't have to let go right away. So for sure we let go right away when you find muktzah. It says if it's going to be a big loss. Let's say you're holding absolute muktzah, and if you let go, it's going to be a loss. You're going to damage the muktzah. So you could be lenient and rely on the opinion that says you could find a place for it. Okay, so we're discussing here where you picked it up by mistake. Let's make that clear. You picked it up by mistake. So if it's going to be a big loss to let go of it right away, you're allowed to just, find the place right away without unnecessary procrastination. Find the place and put it down. You don't have to drop it right away. The chatchila, it's not going to be a loss. You should let go of it right away. But that's really as we're getting into it, that you have to let go right away, the chatchila is by real muktzah, because there's different types of muktzah. There's the absolute muktzah, and then there's the muktzah that's not absolute muktzah. This is non-absolute muktzah, as we learned, right? This is non-absolute muktzah. Absolute muktzah is like money, money, credit cards, passports. I'm not going to go into all the examples now. But this is non-absolute muktzah. So by non-absolute muktzah, you could put it wherever you want. I mean, again, without procrastinating, but you could just find a place and put it down. You're not obligated to let it out of your hand right away. If it's absolute muktzah, then you should let go right away. But if it's going to be a big loss to the muktzah, then you're allowed to take a few seconds to find a place to put it. Yeah.
Absolute muktzah is valuable things.
Should we go to? I wasn't planning to discuss muktzah. Just came in.
Oh, I thought that was the class.
No, we're not discussing muktzah. It came in parenthetically. Muktzah came in because we're discussing a little about candle lighting.
Oh.
Did we do? I was going to actually ask did we do muktzah this year?
No, we didn't.
We didn't do muktzah this year.
It came in. I thought.
So maybe okay. So maybe we should do muktzah. We'll see if we have time because we also have to think about Yontif. Okay. So we're discussing candle lighting, right? So that's why you have mincha before you light candles, because once you light candles, it's already Shabbos, you can't have mincha. What happens if it's late and it's time to bench licht and you didn't daven mincha yet? What do you do first? You have to get into the habit of benching licht on time. Whatever the time in the calendar is, that's the time. I mean, if you delay, we know you still have more time, but proper is to light in the right time. So if it comes the right time, you should light in the right time. So you get into the habit of lighting in the right time. And what about mincha? So what you do is you do a stipulation. You make a stipulation that you're not accepting Shabbos. What do you mean? Because automatically, by default, when you light, default is not a very accurate term, lack of a better term using. Automatically, the accepted custom is that when women light Shabbos and Yom Tov candles, they are accepting Shabbos. That's how it is. So therefore, before you light Shabbos candles, you stipulate, I'm not accepting Shabbos. So now you've not accepted Shabbos because you stipulate, I don't accept Shabbos. And then now you're buying time. You're buying yourself about 10 minutes. That now you have 10 minutes more till you accept Shabbos, and you have 10 minutes to daven mincha, but not more than 10. It's really a little. It's really a drop. I'm saying deliberately 10 because I'm going to put a buffer zone. It's really 12, but let's keep it to 10 to be safe. Okay. The point is, you cannot, no such a thing as lighting Shabbos candles. I'm not accepting Shabbos till much later. I mean, you could you could light Shabbos candles way before Lich Bention. So theoretically, if you're lighting Shabbos an hour before Lich Bention, you're allowed to. But you cannot light Shabbos candles and say, okay, I want to light Shabbos candles now, put this till Shkia is like over an hour. I'm not accepting Shabbos now. I want to light Shabbos candles now, because you're allowed to light Shabbos candles from what's called Plag HaMincha. For an hour and a quarter before sunset, you can light Shabbos candles and accept Shabbos. But you cannot light Shabbos candles from that time and say, oh, I know you want to light Shabbos candles this time. Okay. Oh, but you have to accept Shabbos. I'm stipulating I'm not accepting Shabbos yet. And when do you accept Shabbos? Lich Bention time. I'm going to accept Shabbos then, but I want to light Shabbos candles early for whatever reason. No, you can't do such a thing. Because when you're lighting Shabbos candles, we want you to accept Shabbos within a certain amount of time. We want it should be noticeable that you lit these candles for Shabbos. If you're lighting candles and you're not accepting Shabbos within a certain amount of time, then it's not noticeable that you lit it for Shabbos. That's not the mitzvah. The mitzvah is you're lighting it for Shabbos. So therefore, we want you to accept Shabbos immediately. As we explained, within a certain amount of time, it should be noticeable that you lit it for Shabbos. So whenever you light Shabbos candles, doesn't make a difference. You're lighting it early, the time you're allowed, and there's so much time left till Shabbos, you must accept Shabbos within 10 minutes. Now, this stipulation is not lechatchila. It's not something that's okay. I learned I'm allowed to make a stipulation. What's the problem? I've got a busy schedule Friday. It's a short day. It's winter. I don't have so much time. I'm allowed to do. I want to bench lichten time. I know the halacha. It's going to come lich benchen. I'm going to stipulate I'm not accepting Shabbos. Now I'll have a minute afterwards. And I'll accept Shabbos within 10 minutes. That we just learned that's okay. So that's proper. That's kosher every Friday. No, that should only be done when you're in a bind, when you're in a situation, when you have an issue. You didn't calculate your schedule properly. Something happened. You didn't down mincha. You something important or something else. You have to. You want to bench lich, and then someone's giving a ride to because you have to. You show us far away, whatever you're going somewhere. Only when you're in a situation, lechatchila, it's not. This should not be the routine that you make a stipulation, because there are opinions that say no, the stipulation doesn't work. The halacha is it does, but you use it when necessary, but not without any reason. Now, this that we said that you have to accept Shabbos within a certain amount of time, that is not necessarily you. That could be anyone. I don't know if it's anyone. It's husband or wife. I don't know if it applies to children. So look it up. But let's say the wife is not accepting. We said the wife is lighting candles. The wife has to accept Shabbos within a certain amount of time. There can be situations, not so relevant these days, but those days was more relevant to the situation where the mikveh was far away. They would bench lich, and they would go to the mikveh, and then the bath was there, so everything was done there. So whatever, there were situations where they needed to bench lich, and they couldn't accept Shabbos in 10 minutes. The husband could also accept Shabbos within 10 minutes. In other words, someone has to accept Shabbos within 10 minutes. Again, it's all within the framework that the whole concept of stipulation is only when necessary. But I was saying, so someone has to accept Shabbos. It means it could be either her or him, or husband or wife. Someone has to accept Shabbos within 10 minutes. Okay, I'll take it.
After the proper candle lighting?
No, from when she benches licht. That's the whole point.
But she accept. Oh, like if
as I gave an example, you can bench lift from Plaga Mincha, which is an hour and a quarter before sunset, and she cannot say, "Okay, I'll accept Shabbos in the regular time like everyone else." No, you bench lift now. You have 10 minutes. You or your husband. Your husband could have your husband do it, if there's a need for that. But someone has to accept Shabbos within 10 minutes.
After she benches.
From when she benches licht.
Okay. I wanted to ask also the 10-minute buffer zone for davening mincha, like after you bench lift.
It's really 12 minutes. I'm saying 10.
Right.
Because I want to be,
That's what if you lit later? That also applies?
If you lit
later than the proper candlelight.
Like within the 18 minutes?
by Shkia for sure, have to be, even the men accept Shabbos by Shkia. So by Shkia, forget it. It is, you know what I mean? If she benches licht right before Shkia, the Shkia another 10 minutes into Shabbos, you don't mean that, right?
I don't know.
No,
I'm saying like.
Of course, once it's sunset, it's Shabbos automatically, even for the men. We're talking about when there is extra time, more than 10 minutes. We're saying she has to accept Shabbos within 10 minutes. But if she benches lift 10 minutes, 5 minutes before Shkia, sunset, of course, once it's Shkia. There's nothing to do. It's not about her accepting Shabbos. Shabbos comes in automatically. Just accepting Shabbos, then if a person doesn't accept Shabbos, it's not Shabbos. I'm not saying that's what you meant. I'm trying to bring out. The point is, we're talking about here accepting Shabbos before the time. Once it's sunset, it's Shabbos. Whether you accepted it or not, it's Shabbos, right?
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
you light like Shkia, it says 7:18 and you like 7:16 for some reason because you were late.
Well, it shouldn't be this way. Good question. Okay, so it's a very good question. It's a good question.
Why? I thought it's
I'll
obvious.
tell you-
It's definitely not.
No, it's not definitely not. No. I'll tell you what.
Some men daven after Shkia. That's
The halacha is that let's the men, let's say. It's Shkia, it's Shabbos. When it comes to mincha, because mincha is rabbinic, it's not about accepting Shabbos. Even if they did not, even if it's Shkia, they can still daven mincha.
even on a weekday, right?
The weekend and Shabbos also, just clearly. Even though Shkia, when it comes to Shabbos, it's Shabbos, but still they could daven mincha. That's when I'm thinking, how does it work for a woman who benches lift right before Shkia?
I thought we just said
It's
you
not
can't
about
do it.
accepting. You're saying she has
Maybe
10.
drive.
You said what?
I thought you just said you can't daven mincha after Shkia.
No. I
Like
think you
if-
could. I said,
No, before that. If
I
you
said
lit
the men
candles-
in shul, Friday, when they come to shul, if they come, let's say, late to shul and it's already Shkia, they could daven mincha. The halacha is clear. There's
No,
something
no,
from the Rebbe
for the
that
candle.
it's not ideal because of Shabbos, but talking about halachically, the Rebbe says in Shulchan Aruch, you could daven mincha. The men, they could daven, as many people daven after Shkia. It's not ideal. It's not like, but it's 100% kosher. They could daven mincha after Shkia.
No, I'm not talking about the men. I mean the women.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. So in her question, I'm not sure if a woman benches licht right before Shkia, we're saying that within 10 minutes. So I said once it's Shkia, it's already automatically Shabbos. But
Right.
now I'm thinking, but that would be in regards to Malach, but it could be in regards to Mincha, they could still daven. I have to think about it. We'll look into it. I think that.
But when you're lighting candles and you have it said mincha and it's not within the 18 minutes, you have to have in mind, I'm not taking Shabbos because I'm gonna daven mincha.
Yeah. If you light candles, Shabbos candles, just like you always do,
Yeah.
and you don't have any specific thoughts about, okay, I'm not accepting, automatically you accept Shabbos. You can't have mincha. It's over. You have to have in mind, I'm not accepting Shabbos right away, so I could have mincha. By the way, I'm sorry, what did you say that?
No, you have to have in mind that you can't just say, I'm gonna daven mincha after I light. You have to have in mind that you're not taking in Shabbos.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a good question. I mean, the question is if the person, if argue, maybe that's what the person meant. Right. In other words, essentially, if the person is not really getting it, then they're like, I'm stipulating, then I'm still gonna daven mincha. Excuse me, what do you mean? It's Shabbos, you can't. if the person doesn't have that idea that he's not accepting Shabbos, I still want to daven mincha. Maybe still want to daven. You can't. It's Shabbos. I was going to say, on a practical note, you're saying if it's 2 minutes before sunset and you're benching lich and you're stipulating you're accepting Shabbos, doing the Shemona Esrei, you just start with Shemona Esrei. Shemona Esrei, no kabbanis, no ashrei, just Shemona Esrei. If you start Shemona Esrei before Shkia, that shouldn't be an issue, because you're starting before Shabbos begin. I'm not sure if it's ready. Once it's already Shkia, I have to look it up. I'm thinking it's interesting how that works for women, because if the men can do it and Shkia, even though Shkia is Shabbos, so it comes up Mincha is different. They could, but if they could, then why do they need to make a stipulation? Now I'm thinking, why do they make I'm just thinking questions to myself. Why do they make a stipulation? And you usually need a stipulation. They're not accepting Shabbos. If the men can have after Shkia, even though it's Shabbos for them, because Mincha is a different category, so why do they need to stipulate to daven Mincha? They say, oh, it's already Shabbos, they can't daven Mincha. If the men, it's also Shabbos, and they're davening Mincha after Shkia, there's something different. There's something different when you're accepting. I think the difference is, I think so. Now it's coming to me. When it's Shkia, the men do not accept Shabbos, but there's a doubt. Maybe it's Shabbos. You have to be strict. You have to keep Shabbos. But essentially, there's a doubt if it's day or night. Essentially, we're not sure. We have to keep Shabbos because you have to be strict. Minchas Rabbinic can be lenient. The women, when they are lighting candles, they're accepting Shabbos. So they're accepting Shabbos, and it's 100% Shabbos. If it's 100% Shabbos, how can they daven mincha? That's why they need to stipulate. But the question still remains: what if it's right before Shkia? It would make sense if they're stipulating they're not accepting Shabbos. So probably it could work. Now, the more I think about it, it makes sense that they should be able to. It should work. Yeah. They're stipulating they're not accepting Shabbos. So now, like the men aren't accepting Shabbos just because sun sets, so there's a doubt, right? So now I'm realizing it should be the same thing. They should be able to stipulate. Now the stipulation is only going to work for mincha. It's not going. The stipulation will work for mincha, but not for things they're not allowed to do on Shabbos. Whereas if it's much earlier, the stipulation could work for anything they're not allowed to do on Shabbos. Now I think that I think pretty much comfortable. I think that makes sense. That should be the answer. Now that I.
So a woman can.
Yeah. Now that I thought into it, I realized that's probably that's the difference, because the men, even though it's Shabbos for them, but they didn't accept Shabbos. They have to keep Shabbos because they have to keep Shabbos. If there's a doubt if it's Shabbos, you have to be strict. But they didn't accept Shabbos, whereas the women, they're accepting Shabbos when they light candles. That's even though it's way before sunset, but because they accepted Shabbos, they didn't stipulate, they can't have mincha. But if they stipulate, then even before Shkia, I don't see why they shouldn't be able to stipulate even a minute before Shkia, but they're not accepting Shabbos right away. And even though Shkia comes, it's accepted, but no, they're saying they're not accepting it. So now, why should it be any worse than the men that didn't accept Shabbos? Right? The men can daven after Shkia, so if they're not accepting Shabbos, so the same status like the men that didn't accept Shabbos. So, but it's interesting now. The stipulation will work, but only going to work. It will work for mincha in that regard. Okay, but anything else, well, just like the men after Shkia, they can't put on lights. They can't do anything else, obviously, but not because they accepted Shabbos, because you need to be strict because it might be Shabbos.
The men are men also not supposed to use the 18 minutes? Like it's better if they don't, or that is not okay.
Not supposed to use the 18 minutes?
Yeah, like
Oh,
there's not.
there's no problem for them. There's this significance even in men accepting Shabbos early. I mean, This is a question that I have that I never was able to really go through thoroughly, but there's an idea of accepting Shabbos earlier. So really there is something about it. And it could be that's the reason. There's something from the Rebbe, I haven't seen it, but I heard it, that the Rebbe is not fond of the idea of men davening mincha after Shkia, especially Friday night. Why? Because there's significance in taking Shabbos earlier. Here, they're obviously not taking Shabbos earlier. I believe that's the reason. So there is, again, I haven't looked into this topic thoroughly. Just on the top of my head, there is something there that, they shouldn't be going till the last second. In any case, it's not good to stretch to the last second because you can end up very careful. So, there is significance in men, like not waiting till the last minute, but stopping a little earlier, a minute or two, so they should be accepted, taking Shabbos a little earlier. There's something to it, yes.
So they have to have in mind.
They should.
They have to say, it's like it's Shabbos, or no.
I never heard of that specifically. I believe there is something about it, but I don't know exactly if it's such a custom that I never heard something that men have to before Shkia say, we don't do that.
Something because she forgot. You're like, no, I already took in Shabbos.
No, no. Men are not taking Shabbos. No. I never heard of such a thing that men should be taking Shabbos early. I mean, if they did, they did. But I never heard of such a thing. Why should they? If anything, they should be careful with the clock. The shkia is 4:34. Okay, so stop. Don't wait till the last minute. While you put the stretching. Stop a little early, but just to be safe. But not to take in Shabbos early. I never heard of that.
Do you say that if a woman takes in Shabbos earlier, can she do any malachas or no? That's it.
I'm not sure if I understand your question. Oops, I forgot my phone here. You should leave it downstairs.
I think you said that you have 10
No, if you took in Shabbos,
If you took in Shabbos,
like plug a mincha.
She took in Shabbos, plug a mincha.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the
Is
question?
there any malachas she's allowed to do, or that's it? It's Shabbos.
No, it's Shabbos.
Okay.
What she's allowed to do is she could tell a Jew to do malacha, and lahavda she could tell a non-Jew to do malacha for her. Whereas when it comes to Shabbos, there is limitations. Can't tell a non-Jew to do malacha for you on Shabbos. But before Shabbos, there's no problem. Even though you can even tell a Jew who's didn't accept Shabbos. That's the only difference.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, it's Shabbos. Yeah, it's Shabbos. You can't do anything.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else in regards to lighting candles? As you know, many Chabad is that from 3 and up, that encourages all girls to light Shabbos candles, whereas in other communities, it's not necessarily such a big emphasis. They encourage it very much. And
you're trying to encourage somebody to say that for my custom. Should you keep trying? Or if it's not the custom, then
like anything else, you're sure you should keep trying, but keep trying, what does keep trying mean? Keep trying does not mean nagging.
no.
Keep trying means that you should, that, in other words, it's not exclusive. It's Chabad exclusive. No, it's for everyone. The question is, how do we reach them? How do we influence them? That's not necessarily so simple. Because if they have a very strong education, they were brought up a certain way, they're very strong about it. It's in a way it's harder with them than people who are Bali Chuvas, because everything is new, they're ready to accept, they're already stuck in their way. And they, sometimes an advantage is a disadvantage. It's how it is. In life, there's always like there's nothing in life that's entirely advantage or disadvantage. Every situation a person is in, there's always an advantage and a disadvantage. So there's something very stuck, and if there's a way out to influence them, great. They ever wanted it to be, even like recently I saw about putting on Rabbeinu Tam, the men put on 2 pairs of tefillin. The Sikhs they never wanted it to, but it's not easy to give it to all religious Jews because they have they're stuck, they have their quote unquote, they have little leaders and they're, who lead them and guide them and what could you expect? I mean, it's only normal. They have their people they look up to. They should drop them and it doesn't, you know what I mean? It's not so simple for them. You have to know how to, there's ways how to reach out to them. You have to know how and reaching out to people in general is a process with anyone. Even the Rebbe, with the stories how the Rebbe reached out to people, though how the Rebbe did it, only a Rebbe could do it because the Rebbe was able to feel when it was the right, exactly. But even then, the Rebbe was building a relationship with people. The stories with the Rebbe building a relationship in the early years of the leadership of the Rebbe, there was a lot of non-religious Jews living in Crown Heights. There was a lot of all different sects of religious Jews, a lot of non-religious Jews. There's a story they say that the Rebbe had a relationship with a person. I don't know if I have all the details exactly, but the point of the story is there anyways. There was a certain Jew who was not religious who had a store open on Kingston Avenue. It was open on Shabbos. There was a lot of non-religious. They said that the Rebbe would be seen, the Rebbe would walk home. The early years the Rebbe used to walk by himself, go back home, back and forth. The Rebbe would be seen talking to him, spending time with him. And the Rebbe built a relationship with him. And the person used to come to Fabringen on Shabbos. The store is open, but he came to Fabringen also. and they say until one Fabringen, the Rebbe turned to him and said, again, the exact wording, I don't know. We hear a story from many years ago, so don't quote me on the exact words what the Rebbe said. But the Rebbe told him, okay, time is up. It's time to close your store. Take out the keys from your pocket and put it down on the table. From now on, you're going to close your store. Now, obviously, to do that, only the Rebbe could do. But with all that, the Rebbe built a relationship with him. And the person felt close to the Rebbe. He felt the Rebbe cared about him. And then, the way the Rebbe, how the Rebbe did it, that's, we can't do. We tell us, okay, the Rebbe was right, so in tune, was so connected to them. The Rebbe was like a cat scan on a person. The Rebbe was like inside his head, and the Rebbe was able to tell him, now it's time. Now it's time to close your store. Enough, you start keeping Shabbos now, and he did. The point is, with anyone, it doesn't make a difference. Religious, non-religious, they're all the same type of people. They all have feelings and they all have a mind and a way of thinking. And in order to influence people, you have to build a relationship with them. It's not like some people think, oh, because he's he's religious, he's from birth. Also, you could just go walk to them and tell them, hey, hello, you know what you're doing? You're doing the wrong. It doesn't work. You get offended. Sensitive. It doesn't work. It's like from experience. You have to know how to approach the person, how to say to the person, and say it correctly and say it at the right time. I wanted to tell you about Pesach Sheni. I had that in mind at the end of class. So tomorrow is Pesach Sheni. So the minig is to eat matzah on Pesach Sheni. The minig is, in one letter of the Rebbe, in the early years of the Rebbe, even before the Messias, Tavshin Ches, 1948, there's a letter from the Rebbe, and the Rebbe writes that the minig has been in the Beis Chayena, means like, I guess in the Finnick Rebbe's house, to eat matzah on the 14th day, Yodalit, which is tomorrow. But in later sikhs of the Rebbe, and I was trying to find the sikhs I just found where they quote that it's brought in sikhs, and they quote that the Rebbe wrote in certain sikhs in 1980, where the Rebbe writes that the meaning is that you should have matzah both at night, both in the day, and also the night afterwards, and also the following day. If able to, not like it's obligation, you feel like you have to. Tomorrow, the Rebbe says, if possible, also tomorrow night, and also Shabbos day, Tesvav day also. See, I'm not sure if it's instead or in addition. I was thinking about this morning. What am I going to tell my family? Okay, we're just having matzah. I think could be more ideal, but again, like we discussed before, you want to tell other people what to do, you have to connect to them. Is this what my wife, what my children want to do? They want to interesting, just eating matzah. It's not eating matzah, no chal, just matzah. They might not like it. So I'm not sure if the meaning is just matzah. Meaning matzah doesn't mean just matzah. It could be matzah and I don't know if it excludes eating challah. You know.
But tomorrow, like, if you're not supposed to wash, that's not.
No, you're not supposed to wash before after the 10th hour. Called Shah Hasidus. The 10th hour tomorrow is approximately something it's finding, but it's approximately 4:00, 4 something. It's considered the 4th hour. So from the 10th hour, we're not supposed to wash. But before that, we could wash.
Is that the only thing that you're not supposed to eat after that time? Because somebody also told me that eating meat is an issue.
Meat?
Yeah.
At Shabbos? No.
Okay.
I mean, even if you're washing before 10th hour, you still have to keep in mind, the idea is that at Friday night, you eat with an appetite. You're still not supposed to eat, even eating before the 10th hour, you're not supposed to eat a massive meal where you're stuffing yourself and it comes Friday night and it's all full of it. It's not like eating. It's not respect for Shabbos.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not supposed to wash from the 10th hour. If you want to know the exact time, I could find this quickly. Today's April 30. So, Sha'asidis, they don't have Sha'asidis. They don't have it. They don't, because it's not a common thing that's used. Mincha Ketana, Mincha Ketana, it's a half an hour before Mincha Ketana. So Mincha Ketana is 5 o'clock. Tomorrow is 5 o'clock. So maybe it's about roughly 4:30. 4:30. Yeah, it's about approximately 4:30, approximately, because it's about 4:30. From about that time, you shouldn't wash it. Okay. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Oh, Rabbi Osdoba, I also had a question. Is there any issue with, like, if I go to Williamsburg, is there any issue with eating the meat there? Or Shabbos?
So just want to get this off. Okay. Oh, it is.